You love your dog. You feed them every day, buy the best food you can afford, and make sure their bowl is never empty. You do everything right, or at least that's what you've been told. But what if I told you that the very way you feed your dog, the schedule, the bowl, the habits you never question could be quietly shaving years off their life, not from neglect, not from toxic food, but from something far more innocent, something you probably did this morning. According to the 2025 K9 Health and Nutrition Survey from the University of Georgia, 86% of dog owners are unknowingly making small daily feeding mistakes that can lead to chronic disease pain and even early death. And here's the part. No one wants to say out loud, love alone isn't enough, because love without knowledge can still hurt the one you care about most. In this video, you're going to discover deadly feeding mistakes that even the most devoted dog owners make, and more importantly, how to fix them before it's too late. By the end, you won't just know how to feed your dog, right? You'll understand what it truly means to nourish them body and soul. Leaving food out. All day. Maybe you thought leaving food out all day was an act of kindness. It feels comforting. Your dog can eat whenever they're hungry, right? But that open bowl sitting quietly in the corner might be doing more harm than good. Dogs aren't grazers. They were never built to nibble throughout the day like cows. Their biology is designed for rhythm hunt, eat, rest. When food is always there, that rhythm collapses. Insulin stays high, digestion never gets a pause, and their body quietly shifts into permanent storage mode. Fat builds up slowly, hormones lose balance, and the pancreas begins to tire. You won't see it at first until the day your vet says the word diabetes or pancreatitis. The University of Copenhagen studied more than 1,500 dogs and discovered that those fed freely throughout the day had 3 times the risk of developing diabetes compared to those on a fixed schedule. Not because they ate more, but because their bodies never had the chance to rest. And here's the hidden danger. When food is always available, you lose your early warning sign. If your dog stops eating for a day, how would you even notice? That's how illness hides in plain sight. You might think you're being generous, but love isn't leaving the bowl full, it's knowing when to put it away. Feed twice a day, 15 minutes per meal. Give their body rhythm and you give them balance. And while you're at it, take a closer look at that bowl itself. Using plastic feeding bowls. It's clean, shiny, and looks perfectly fine. But what if the very dish your dog eats from every day is leaking invisible poison into their food? Plastic feeding bowls are one of the most common yet overlooked dangers in every home. Over time, the surface develops tiny scratches that trap bacteria, forming a sticky layer called biofilm. It's invisible but alive, a colony of microbes that resist soap and water. The University of Arizona once compared household dog bowls and found they carried more bacteria than toilet seats. Worse still, most plastic bowls contain BPA and phthalates, chemicals that mimic hormones. Warm water, sunlight, and even the acids in dog food can cause them to leach into your dog's meal. Over months or years, those chemicals disrupt the endocrine system, leading to itchy skin, hair loss, thyroid imbalance, and chronic inflammation. Have you ever noticed your dog getting small pimples around the mouth or constant ear infections with no clear reason? Sometimes the cause isn't in what they eat, but in what they eat from. The simple fix: switch to stainless steel or ceramic bowls. They're easy to clean, non-porous, and safe for life. Your dog trusts you completely. They lick that bowl clean every day, believing it's safe. Make sure it truly is. And if the bowl matters, what about the water inside it? Ignoring hydration balance. Food keeps them alive, but water keeps them young. Yet most owners don't realize that dehydration kills faster than hunger ever could. Dogs can survive days without food, but only hours without proper hydration. The Journal of Veterinary Internal Medicine reported that 1 in 5 senior dogs admitted to emergency clinics showed signs of chronic dehydration, often because their water bowl was dirty or rarely changed. Bacteria multiply fast in stagnant water. That slimy feel on the bowl surface isn't harmless. It's another layer of biofilm filled with bacteria that can cause stomach issues, gum infections, and even kidney strain. Clean fresh water should be replaced twice daily, served in a separate bowl from food, and kept out of direct sunlight. Add moisture to their diet with safe vegetables, green beans, cucumber, carrots. It's like giving their body an extra sip of life. You might not see dehydration not until their gums dry, their eyes sink, and their energy fades. So the next time you glance at that water bowl, ask yourself, would you drink it? And while you're fixing what goes into their bowl, it's time to check where that food is coming from. Storing food the wrong way. You buy the best food, seal the bag tight, and think it's safe. But oxygen doesn't care about Ziplocs. Once opened, dry kibble begins to oxidize. Fats break down, vitamins lose potency, and invisible toxins start to form. Over time, the oils in the food can turn rancid, creating compounds that damage the liver and digestive tract. The FDA has repeatedly warned about aflatoxins, mold-based poisons that can grow inside improperly stored kibble, especially in warm or humid rooms. Most owners make the same mistake. They pour the food into a plastic bin and toss the bag. But here's the truth, that bag was your dog food's first line of defense. It's lined to block light and air. When you throw it away, you throw away that protection. And if the bin isn't airtight, oxidation begins the moment you seal the lid. To store food right, keep the kibble in its original bag, then place the whole bag inside an airtight container. Store it in a cool, dry place away from direct heat or sunlight, and never buy more than a month's supply at a time. Food doesn't stay fresh forever, no matter what the label says. You wouldn't eat cereal that sat open for 6 weeks. Why expect your dog to? And even if the food stays perfect, the way you serve, it could still harm their mind. Because feeding isn't just about nutrition, it's about stimulation too. Feeding without mental stimulation. Imagine eating the same meal in the same place at the same time every single day, no flavor, no surprise, no joy. That's your dog's life when food becomes routine and nothing more. In the wild, every meal was a mission. They had to sniff, chase, solve, and work. It wasn't just eating, it was purpose. But when we pour kibble into a bowl and walk away, we take all of that away from them. What used to be an adventure turns into a 30-second chore. Studies from Yale's Canine Cognition Lab show that dogs without feeding enrichment have higher cortisol levels, the same hormone linked to stress and depression in humans. They start chewing furniture, barking without reason, or simply lying still with dull eyes. Their brains need a job, not a bowl. The fix doesn't require fancy tools. Scatter kibble in the yard, hide it in a towel, use a puzzle feeder that makes them think. Let them search, earn, and celebrate each bite. Because when you give your dog back the hunt, you give them back their happiness. Feeding should never just fill the stomach, it should wake up the mind. And if their environment matters, imagine what happens when we feed them in chaos instead of peace. Feeding in a stressful environment. You wouldn't enjoy dinner next to a running vacuum cleaner or a blaring TV. Yet many dogs are fed in noisy kitchens, surrounded by shouting kids, slamming doors, or constant distractions. Dogs, especially sensitive breeds, read the room through sound and energy. A stressful environment activates the fight-or-flight response, the same one that shuts down digestion. Their heart races, muscles tense, and blood flow diverts away from the stomach. That means the food you lovingly prepared isn't even being absorbed properly. The Behavioral Veterinary Journal 2024 found that dogs fed in quiet, predictable environments digested up to 25% more efficiently and showed lower cortisol levels than those fed in noisy or unpredictable spaces. Calmness is nutrition too. So when it's feeding time, create peace. Turn off the TV. Keep children calm. Let your dog eat in their own corner without feeling watched or rushed. This small act turns feeding into trust. Because when your dog eats in peace, they're not just nourished, they're safe. And speaking of safety, one of the biggest hidden stressors comes when more than one dog eats at the same time. Feeding multiple dogs side by side. It looks adorable, 2 or 3 dogs lined up, wagging tails, eating together like family. But behind that cute scene, a silent tension often builds. Dogs are pack animals, yes, but not when it comes to food. In the wild, eating was never shared. It was earned. When you line dogs side by side, instinct kicks in. Submissive dogs eat faster, swallowing chunks without chewing. Dominant dogs guard their bowls, sometimes growling, sometimes attacking. Even if they seem fine, their stress hormones spike every single meal. This pack pressure doesn't always show up as fights. Sometimes it's anxiety, vomiting, or one dog losing weight while the other overeats. It's not discipline, it's fear. To fix it, feed each dog in their own space, even if it's just a few feet apart or in separate corners of the room. Let them eat at their own pace. You'll notice calmer behavior, better digestion, and fewer fights. Food should be comfort, not competition. And while space between dogs matters, so does patience, especially when it comes to changing what they eat. Because one of the most painful mistakes happens when love turns into rush. Switching food. Too fast. You finally found a better brand. Cleaner ingredients. No fillers, maybe even vet recommended. You feel proud like you're doing the right thing. So you toss the old bag, pour in the new food, and think you've done a good deed. But for your dog's stomach, that sudden change isn't progress. It's chaos. Inside your dog lives an invisible world, trillions of bacteria trained to digest one specific type of food. When you change that food overnight, it's like firing an entire workforce and replacing them with strangers who don't know the job. Confusion follows. Digestion stumbles. The result? Diarrhea, vomiting, refusal to eat, or worse, a terrified look in their eyes as if asking, "What did I do wrong?" A 2023 study from the University of Illinois found that 78% of dogs experience digestive distress when switched to new food too quickly. Not because the new food was bad, but because their gut wasn't given time to adapt. The fix is simple: go slow. Mix 25% of the new food with 75% of the old on the first 2 days. Then 50-50 for the next 2. By day 7, your dog's microbiome will have adjusted, ready to welcome the change. Patience is love in action. Because rushing doesn't show care, it only shows hurry. And while food transitions need patience, so do the rhythms of daily life. Because feeding time shouldn't look the same for every dog, every age, or every season. Not adjusting. Feeding times with age and season. Your dog isn't the same creature they were a year ago. Just like humans, their metabolism, energy level, and body temperature change with time and with the weather. But most owners feed the same amount at the same hour every single day, year after year, as if nothing ever changes. A puppy burns through calories like a small engine running, playing, growing. A senior dog, on the other hand, moves slower, digests slower, and needs fewer calories but more hydration. Feeding them the same way through every stage is like giving a marathon runner the same meal as a retiree. One will thrive, the other will struggle. And seasons matter too. In the winter, when temperatures drop, dogs burn more energy to stay warm. In the summer, their metabolism slows, and overfeeding can cause bloating, weight gain, or even heat stress. Cornell's Veterinary Nutrition Guide reminds us, feeding schedules should follow biology, not the clock. The best habit: watch, don't assume. Notice how your dog eats, how much they move, how they rest. Adjust meals with the seasons and their age, because what nourishes them at 2 years old can burden them at 10. And while some owners forget to adapt to their dog's needs, others go the opposite way. They feed not for the dog's body, but for their own heart. Feeding based on your emotions, not their needs. You had a hard day. You come home. Your dog greets you with a wagging tail, that unconditional love that makes the whole world feel right again. So you reach for the treats, 1, 2, maybe 3. You deserve this, you whisper. But who really needed it, them or you? Feeding out of emotion is one of the quietest, deadliest mistakes dog owners make. It starts small: an extra scoop when they look sad, a biscuit because they waited patiently, a slice of chicken when you feel guilty for leaving them home alone. It feels like love, but it isn't, it's compensation. Dogs don't measure love by food. They measure it by your presence, your tone, your energy. Over time, emotional feeding leads to obesity, heart strain, and joint pain, all preventable, all born from good intentions. Love your dog with time, not calories. Take them for a slow walk. Sit beside them, talk to them. They don't need more food, they need you. And while feeding from emotion is one form of miscommunication, there's another one that happens during the meal itself, when we fail to read the most honest language of all, their body. Ignoring your dog's body language. During meals, every dog speaks not with words but with eyes, ears, tail, and breath. And yet most owners never listen. We pour the food, walk away, and assume all is fine. But your dog's body tells a story every time they eat. A dog who eats too fast isn't just hungry, they're anxious. A dog who sniffs but doesn't eat may be feeling pain or discomfort. Ears pinned back, pacing, licking lips, walking away from the bowl, all signs of stress, nausea, or even fear. Sometimes they look up between bites, not because they're distracted, but because they're checking. Is it safe to keep eating? Veterinary behaviorists call this feeding anxiety, and it's far more common than most realize. Maybe another pet once stole their food. Maybe a loud noise startled them. Maybe the bowl itself smells like detergent. Whatever the reason, ignoring those tiny signals means missing the language of trust. The next time your dog eats, watch closely. Do they rush? Hesitate. Look at you for reassurance. That's communication. When you listen, you don't just feed their body, you feed their confidence. Because the way your dog eats says more than you think. Giving too many treats. As love treats are joy, that crunch, that wagging tail, that look of pure happiness when you say, "Good boy." But here's the painful truth. Too many of those moments can slowly take away the very thing you love most, their health. The Association for Pet Obesity Prevention warns that over 60% of dogs in the US are overweight. And most of that weight doesn't come from main meals, it comes from treats. Each just one more adds up. A single cookie for a small dog is the calorie equivalent of a human eating a cheeseburger. Imagine giving your dog 5 cheeseburgers a day. That's what some owners do without realizing it. Treats should never exceed 10% of daily calories. They're meant to teach, not replace affection. If you want to reward your dog, use your voice, your touch, your time. Play fetch. Go outside. Look them in the eyes and say, "You did good." They don't crave sugar, they crave connection. Every extra treat might make their tail wag today, but it could make their heart struggle tomorrow. Feeding without gratitude. It's the mistake no one talks about, the one that hides behind all others. Feeding without gratitude. We rush through mornings, scoop the food, fill the bowl, and move on. It becomes mechanical, another checkbox in our day. But for them, that moment is everything. That bowl is trust. It's safety. It's love in physical form. When you pause even for a second and feed with presence, they feel it. Dogs sense intention. They know when your heart is there. Feeding with gratitude transforms the ordinary into sacred. It reminds us that every scoop is a promise: I will care for you as long as you live. You see, every mistake we've talked about, from overfeeding to neglecting water, from ignoring labels to feeding with guilt, comes down to one truth. We forget how much they trust us. The promise you make. Every day. Maybe your dog is lying beside you right now, breathing softly, dreaming without fear. Or maybe they're gone, and this is how you honor them: by learning to do better for the next soul who finds you. Feeding isn't just a daily routine, it's a ritual of love. Every scoop, every drop of water, every quiet meal in peace, it all adds up to years of health, years of companionship, years of wagging tails and soft eyes that say, "Thank you." You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be aware. Because love isn't found in the size of a bowl, it's in the care behind every bite. If this message reached you, share it. Not for views, not for numbers, but for the life waiting quietly at someone's feet, the one who depends on them to get it right. They would give their whole life for you. The least we can do is make sure that life is long, healthy, and full. Feeding too fast. Without supervision. You fill the bowl, place it down, and within seconds it's gone. Every bite swallowed, every crunch inhaled. You smile thinking, they must love their food. But what you're really seeing is panic, not joy. Fast eating in dogs isn't hunger, it's habit, anxiety, or survival instinct. In multi-dog homes, it's competition. In single-dog homes, it's learned behavior, a rush to finish before something takes it away. And here's the danger: when dogs gulp food, they swallow air. That air builds pressure in the stomach, increasing the risk of bloat and gastric torsion. GDV, a life-threatening emergency that can kill within hours. Slow feeder bowls, puzzle feeders, or even placing a clean rock in the middle of the dish can slow them down. Feed in peace, not in panic. Because a dog who eats slower doesn't just live longer, they live calmer. Feeding right after stress or excitement. You come back from a walk, your dog's tail still wagging, breathing fast, tongue hanging out. You pour food into the bowl because they must be hungry after all that exercise. But feeding right after excitement is like eating. After running a marathon, the body isn't ready. During excitement or stress, blood flow moves away from the digestive system toward the muscles and heart. Feeding at that moment overwhelms the stomach, leading to cramps, indigestion, or even vomiting. This is especially dangerous in large or deep-chested breeds, the same ones prone to bloat. Give them time. Wait at least 30-45 minutes after activity before feeding. Let the heart rate drop, breathing slow, and muscles relax. Feeding should be a calm ritual, not a continuation of chaos. Love isn't feeding fast, it's knowing when to pause. Ignoring portion adjustments. After spay or neuter. After spaying or neutering, your dog's metabolism can slow down by up to 30%, but appetite often stays the same. Most owners never adjust portions, believing nothing has changed, but something has changed: hormones. Reduced estrogen or testosterone affects how the body stores fat and builds muscle. Without adjustment, the same diet that once kept them fit can quickly lead to obesity. Over time, that extra weight strains the joints, the heart, even the liver. You'll see it slowly: less energy, heavier breathing, shorter walks. The fix is simple yet powerful. After surgery, reduce daily calories by 10 to 15% and maintain consistent exercise. That small change can add years to their life. Because caring doesn't end at the vet's office, it continues at every meal. Feeding without eye contact or presence. It sounds strange, doesn't it? But to your dog, feeding time is communication, and eye contact is the bridge. Most owners drop the food, walk away, scroll on their phone, or rush to the next task. The dog eats alone in silence. But dogs are emotional eaters, not in the human sense, but in the bonding sense. When you make eye contact, speak softly, or stay nearby, they feel secure. Their breathing slows. Their bite becomes calmer. Their trust deepens. Feeding with presence doesn't mean staring, it means being there. Kneel down, say their name. Smile. Let them know you're not just feeding them, you're connecting with them. One day you'll realize those quiet moments at the bowl were the real conversations, the ones where love didn't need words. Feeding the same way. Every day. Without observation. Dogs thrive on routine. Yes, but they also evolve. And when routine becomes autopilot, that's when love turns into neglect disguised as care. You scoop the same amount at the same hour in the same way, not because it's best, but because it's easy. You stop watching how they eat, how their energy shifts, how their coat feels, how their breath smells. But the truth is, your dog's needs whisper before they scream. Loss of appetite might mean pain. Slow eating could mean dental issues. A sudden love for grass. A sign of nausea. These changes are quiet conversations, but only if you're listening. Most owners notice when it's too late, when the vet points to blood tests, when routine became the problem itself. So feed with awareness. Watch their eyes, their pace, their posture. The bowl isn't the point, the bond is. Routine keeps them alive, but awareness keeps them well. Trusting online trends over real veterinary advice. It's everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Raw food cures everything. Homemade diets are safer. Add this magic powder for instant health. And while some advice online is well-meaning, much of it is dangerous, even deadly. A 2024 study from the American Veterinary Medical Association found that over 40% of homemade dog diets shared online were nutritionally unbalanced, missing essential nutrients like taurine, calcium, or vitamin D. Some raw diets carried harmful bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli, not only endangering dogs, but also humans in the same home. It's easy to trust a friendly face online more than a sterile clinic room. But your vet isn't there to sell you fear, they're there to protect your dog's biology, something no influencer truly understands. Ask questions, learn, collaborate. But don't gamble your dog's life on a trend. Because behind every viral clip, there's a vet somewhere picking up the pieces of what that miracle advice destroyed. When in doubt, ask the one person who has seen both sides, the health and the heartbreak. Maybe your dog is lying beside you right now, breathing softly, trusting you with every heartbeat. Or maybe they're gone, and this is your way of honoring them by learning, by caring, by doing better for the next one who finds you. Feeding a dog isn't about scooping food into a bowl. It's about presence, awareness, gratitude. It's about understanding that every small choice, the water you change, the bowl you wash, the patience you show echoes in the years you get to share. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to pay attention. Because when you do, you're not just feeding a pet, you're feeding a soul that loves you more than it loves itself. If this message touched you, share it. Not for numbers, but for life. Because somewhere out there, another dog is waiting for their owner to learn what you just did. They would give their whole life for you. The least we can do is make sure that life is long, healthy, and full.